And welcome everybody to a brand new episode of Crush This, a Monster Truck podcast, presented by High Octane Coffee, J Concepts, 6B Apparel, Justin Stories, JB Scale Graphics. I'm trying to remember who all, because I haven't done this intro in a long
Yeah,
time.
Back Channel Productions, Hall
Back
Brothers
Channel
Racing,
Productions.
MTRC,
Yep.
and then we're gonna do a different guest next week. This week was supposed to be Tyler Meninga. He had to reschedule, so that's April 12th, and then the next week's gonna be Brianna Marcourt. She is I guess a PSN, I don't know, event director for Monster Jam. She's our person who kind of runs it, not run the show. Well, second in charge of running the show and stuff like that. And we'll talk about the behind the scenes stuff that goes on how to make a monster truck show and how to run it and the pressures it is running and doing stuff with Monster Jam. Running a show that's we may have some people maybe arguing, but it's the prime. It's the the NFL of monster truck racing. It's no offense to anyone else, but they they sell up stadiums and stuff like that. So we'll find out what they do behind the scenes of that production, and we'll test the waters on that. We'll have more people like in Throwdown or Toughest and other promoters. Ed Beckley's promotion. We can do other ones too. So, but this time we're just gonna touch a little bit of the waters of how a Monster Jam does in general. So, but that's next week's guest, Brianna Marcourt. So, outside of that, we normally would do our intro, and you just want to do it, Brad, or you just want to continue on?
Let's just continue on. This is just a chill episode. Speaking of Monster Jam, big news for Canadian Monster Truck fans. I am excited. Monster Jam is coming to Edmonton, not at the old Rexall Place, not at Rogers Center, not at Cash Royce or a Rad Torque Raceway, but they're going to Commonwealth Stadium, the football stadium that the Edmonton Elks play at. We're finally getting a stadium show. Yes!
It's a big floor too, right?
Yes, it is a very big floor. So I am excited. I've kind of known in a way there was rumors about it happening, but then COVID kind of screwed it up. So I, for one, am excited about this, at least for being a Canadian Monster fan, because I've said it for years. We normally don't get a lot of shows. If we do, it's in a hockey arena or a raceway. And if Monster Jam did a stadium show, it was always in Toronto at Rogers Center, where the Toronto Argonauts play in the Canadian Football League. So for
the Toronto Blue Jays.
Yeah, the Toronto Blue Jays. So for
and they normally ran also, don't forget, in Vancouver, they ran the BC Place.
Yeah, they ran BC Place for many years until they did the renovations on that. They haven't had a show there for quite a long time. So it's awesome to finally get some shows out here. And then Throwdown obviously is going to be in Edmonton the same weekend as Monster Jam is in Calgary. So tough decisions which one to go there, but I'll probably go with Throwdown that weekend just because I never missed that show. That's always an epic show to go to. But it's going to be interesting to see who they bring for a lineup to Edmonton. I'm definitely going to be there. Hopefully work doing club help or, just as a fan. I always like to be involved some way or somehow with a show that's, in Alberta. It's going to be interesting who they bring. I'm excited for it. It's about time. It's cool to see Canadian stadiums finally getting used for other things in football or soccer. So
how cool would they bring back Northern Nightmare?
Dude, if they bring back Northern Nightmare with Cam for that show, with Cam being, Western Alberta or Western Canada guy, I would be so stoked. That would be a perfect, and that would be perfect. And the stadium's an open air stadium, so it's got no roof, so it's perfect. I can't wait to see what they do for a track. Personally, I like the paperclip style, what they're doing on the stadium tour that like Ryan Anderson's on and Tyler and all them are on. I'd like to see that one, but I'm happy. It's about damn time.
Yeah, I hear you on that. Because we're gonna be in, I don't know exactly in April, but we're gonna be in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada.
Oh yeah, you're going to be on the other side of Canada, and Hamilton's always a good show from videos I've seen throughout the years. I have a show in May 14th. That's about an hour away from me, which the Como Motorsports guys like Psycho Pat, Anger Management, Loud and Dirty, those guys are going to be at. So I'm hoping to get some interviews or work the show, and then hopefully get some interviews at other shows. It's exciting times to be a fan here in Alberta, especially. I know there's going to be a show in Red Deer with the Como Motorsports guys are doing a show in Red Deer. So it's been a tough couple years being a Canadian monster truck fan, but I think things are finally starting to turn around. With COVID didn't help, but I think things are starting to turn around, and we're going to get more shows in the near future.
And okay, we'll have an open topic here. So John, whatever his last name is, sorry about
John
that.
Cadieux.
Yeah,
Cadieux.
Gadoo. He said, "What do you guys think about the USA One body?" I guess that's been a topic going on through Facebook and whatnot. And
yes, it has.
I just say I'm happy to see USA One back.
Yes.
I'm not here to talk anything about my opinion and stuff like that. And we made that publicly on this podcast. You can go to the other guys that are on YouTube. They'll listen to what they want to say. But for me, I liked it.
Yep, I dig it. It's something different. I saw Hot Rod's post earlier in saying it's easier to see out of that body, which that's very important in a monster truck. You don't have a lot of visibility, obviously.
It's based off of the body that you run, Brad. It's not just the trophy truck body is easier to see, but compared to a Merc like Monster Mutt or anything like that, it's hard to see. And like I had the discussion with Elvis, it's easier. I mean, heck, you could see through the Escalade body just as well as off-road truck. And then with the El Toro Loco, it's basically based off of how you position the body and where the sitting is at. And then sometimes that hood could be an issue. But so it's basically based off of what it is. But yeah, for a standard off-road body is pretty in that category of wide open, I guess.
Yeah.
But it could vary.
And it's interesting because I saw that one post by that Mo Muddin guy on Facebook, and it was an interesting thread to read. A lot of mixed reactions, and I like it. It's different. Maybe they'll switch. Different if they have a second USA One truck. If they decide to go a 2 USA One truck route.
Brad, you're giving your opinion. We'll move on. That's this podcast. You can rent on your own personal page. This doesn't go on this. I just said I like it, and that's about it.
Okay.
Just go. It is what it is. You know what I mean?
Yep.
People are right. At least it's a Chevy.
Yes. That's one thing that's made sure it stays a Chevy. It doesn't go any other manufacturer like other trucks have done in the past.
Yeah. I understand, Sean, Brad's opinions matters, but like me and him both agreed on we're not into politics. You know what I mean? We just interview, have fun, talk about stuff. That's how we're the Switzerland of monster truck podcast. We are neutral.
Oh man, it's this year in monster trucks alone has been very exciting, with how many shows are popping up and different teams. Like, goodness gracious, how many trucks has that James guy bought at this point?
Enough to keep the names going. But I'm gonna change the topic here. How awesome is it to know that you're having more shows popping up in Canada since the disaster that happened 2 years ago that basically shut down the bordering countries, and you realize how many monster trucks are in Canada that's in the Canadian region compared to going from the States to Canada.
dude.
and losing all those shows, and now all these shows are popping back and back up and adding some to it. How pump is that? Because I remember, you know, uh, your comments last year, you're down and out. You missed a show. I think 2020, you didn't even go to a show.
Yeah,
One
well,
of
no,
those years.
2020. 2020, I went to that show that Zane brought me to in Pennsylvania.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
But right before COVID hit, I was supposed to go to Monster Spectacular, Christopher Motorsports in Red Deer. I had
Hmm.
plans, it was going to be a road trip. Me and my family, we're going to go down there. But it's exciting, and there's not a lot of teams in Canada. If you look at Canadian monster trucks as a whole, you have the Trainwreck guys out in Ontario, Sean Carey, I believe, and they have that truck Sabotage.
The Comos.
The Comos, they have them on Ontario, which they just bought. Straight Jacket, which that truck will be in Dawson Creek, British Columbia, when I'm there. And then out here, you have Don Frankish with his ride truck. And then you have the Roughneck and Crude Behavior guys, Jason Court and Jared Vogel here in Alberta/BC. So, it's interesting. The show that I went to last year in Edmonton for Throwdown, it was kind of Throwdown show also put on by Castro Raceway. You had the Como trucks and the Roughneck and Crude Behavior guys, and they put on a great show. Oh, and Bucking Bronco, which I don't know if they're based out of the States now or if they're still based in Canada or not, because I don't know, they've been doing a lot of American shows. It's cool to see shows popping up again. For a long time, Throwdown consistently came here up to Grand Prairie for the only really arena show they ever have done, at Revolution Place here in Grand Prairie. I went every single time. Before that, you had Edge Motorsports, Chris Arell doing shows up here. You had Monster Jam doing stuff in Edmonton and Calgary.
Amp Motorsports did stuff.
I believe so. I'm not too sure about out here, but maybe in other provinces. I know Bill Payne's crew has done some stuff out here with the Traxxas tour back when that was still active, Monster X tour.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just so stoked that, shows are popping up again, because it's expensive to travel to the States. I'd love to go to shows in the States. I'd love to see different teams and different trucks. And, it's going to be exciting to see, like I said earlier, who Monster Jam brings to Edmonton and who Throwdown brings to Edmonton. Throwdown, if any of you guys are around Alberta, British Columbia, BC, or as I just mentioned, BC, Saskatchewan, go down to the Throwdown show in Edmonton. I've seen some of the craziest stuff I've ever seen at that show. Chris Kohler's freestyle from 2019 still blows my mind to this day. The backflip attempt that Jimmy Cretin did in the rain that same weekend, I don't know how he pulled that off, but he did. Justin Stories, yeah, Straight Up Racing did some shows. I've done a couple shows with them in BC and here in Alberta. Those guys are always a right to be around. So it's going to be exciting to be a fan out here again, because I have voiced my opinion about this millions of times, and the frustration, being a fan, in Canada. So
and probably hopefully see some extreme racing up there. I knew there were a hot ticket. Same thing with Vodders back in, before the pandemic happened. They were two of the most famous. How Vodders was considered the gravedigger in Canada. What's his face over there in Montreal?
Chris Arell.
Yeah.
And Cretin always comes up for the Throwdown show. I don't know if he's doing it this year or not, just because he's doing his own thing now. But he's Jimmy and them have been awesome to me anytime I've talked to them. The Kohler camp, Jim Kohler always comes up to Edmonton. I got to hang out with them a little bit. It's cool, because Alberta, I feel like we get skipped out on with a lot of events, compared to the last couple of years. Like, everything happens in Ontario, because it's being in Ontario, it's much easier access to get, to Canada from the States or back and forth. So it's going to be awesome, man.
Same thing with Vancouver area.
Yeah.
Seattle right there.
Yeah. So in Alberta, you have to come through, I think it's either Montana or North or South Dakota. I forget exactly which one. So, I'm happy, and I'm going to hopefully get some interviews and stuff at these shows. I do want to hopefully get some interviews at, the show in Dawson Creek, an hour away from me. And then
when you say Dawson Creek, just reminds me of the 90s television show.
I have a story about this. Okay. So our good friend, Dallas Glenn Rogers, works with Straight Up Racing, owns Crash Test Dummy Monster Truck. So I've gotten to know him and hang out with him for a long time, through many shows. The dude's awesome. Like, if you guys get a chance to meet Dawson or Dallas or whatever and hang out with him, he is an awesome dude. So one of the shows, he kept going, Dawson's Creek. I'm like, dude, it's Dawson Creek. Okay, we're not in the TV show.
I don't want to wait.
I don't want to wait.
And yeah. That's funny.
Oh yeah, the dude's awesome. We have a comment here, Jeremy Parsons. How about Brendan Budd wrecking his second Bigfoot body this weekend? Hey, Brendan Budd with the Bigfoot name, it's awesome to see. The dude is sending it. He still has the same driving style, but it's cool to see.
He said Bigfoot doesn't wreck. Go watch the Toughest Monster Truck Tour back in 2017, bud. And go talk to Josh Gibson and Larry Swim, because they wrecked those trucks in the 2017 year. Kobe can attest to it. They rocked the house on that.
Just in there. I don't want to wait for this freestyle to be over.
You sound exactly like her. Anyway,
voice of an angel.
I don't know about that, but voice of a goose, Canadian goose.
Oh goodness! When you say that, I just had to think of Letterkenny. Kenny Gooses.
But I mean, freaking Brandon is killing it in the Toughest Tour, and give out shout out. If we're talking about the Toughest Tour, give a shout out to Dalton Weiner.
Yeah,
I think he's in the lead right now in the points of toughest, and he started out what we did in the freaking rigs of rods and stuff like that, and he had a chance to play football at a college level football team, and he took monster trucks for it, and awesome stuff, and like Colby said, Gibby and Swim wadded up a lot of stuff. 17 was ridiculous. Yes, the 2017 year for Team Bigfoot was crazy. So, I mean, that's cool too. Levi said Dalton went from last to first, and that doesn't, I think Dalton's 8 points back from Brandon. Still, he did what he did. This week, if anyone wants to know, at Toledo, Ohio, we had Brandon, I forget his last name, drove El Toro Loco. It was a deal that they had with UNOH. UNOH is about like 40 hour from Toledo, and they're trying to push the product in. So next week in Grand Rapids, Elvis will be back behind the wheel of El Toro Loco. So just to let anyone know about that, Elvis will be back. He wasn't kicked out of the seat or anything like that. This is just promotion for UNOH with the university. Try to get people to go to the university and stuff like that. So, yeah, Russell. Let's wrestle. Brandon Russell.
I want to talk a little bit.
Woo!
By the way, I have to do this. Hey yo.
Yo.
Tribute to Scott Hall.
Yeah,
I want to talk a little bit of drag racing here. Tony Stewart Racing getting its first win at the Gator Nationals with Matt Hagan behind the wheel, and also Tony winning in the NASCAR side with Chase Briscoe the same day. That is awesome to see. We didn't know how long it was going to be until Tony Stewart won in NHRA. basically buying a turnkey operation from Don
Well, speaking of
Schumacher.
which, before that actually happened, we thought it was going to be worse because Leah didn't even make it into the top
Yeah,
fuel line.
I guess from what I was watching, they had a lot of rain delays and a lot of rain in Gainesville, and Leah only had one shot and smoked the tires, unfortunately. So they'll bounce back.
They were pretty upset with the guys, though. They they didn't like how it stopped raining and they could have dried out the track, and they pulled the plug on qualifying the rest of the day. The interview that I heard through uh so Jeremy Parson, I'll tell you this. So there are two different divisions of racing. Tony Stewart owns, the Ford is the NASCAR side. NHRA is sponsored by Dodge. They're two separate entities. If you take
Yeah.
a look at Penske Racing, Penske has NASCAR sponsored Ford NASCAR products. Their IndyCar Chevy, and then they have, I think, the Le Mans or whatever. It's
Acura.
Acura slash Honda.
Yeah.
There are three different entities, so they have no intertwine, even though they're owned by one team. Chip Ganassi has the same exact situation, where their NASCAR program was Chevy's, their IndyCar program was Honda, and their Le Mans program was Ford while running the Ford. So why did you ask Ford and Dodge, how does that work, if you knew that already?
And Levi just commented there with Haas as Ferrari as the engine supplier, and holy crap, F1 is amazing.
Yeah, P3, and that race was crazy.
No, they got P5. Lewis Hamilton had P3.
Okay,
So
yeah, I forgot them.
It was Charles Leclerc won, Carlos Sainz second, Lewis Hamilton third, and the Red Bulls last lap something failed. So DNF for Max Verstappen and Carlos Sainz. So unfortunate, and I'm upset with my McLaren boys, Daniel Ricciardo, Lando Norris. I'm upset.
The cool thing is, though, they're second gen racers right now.
Oh yeah,
freaking Michael Schumacher's son is in the Haas racing car.
Yep.
And who else? There's two more people.
Max Verstappen, and believe Kevin Magnussen. So I believe Kevin Magnussen is a second gen racer. It's going to be exciting. If you guys haven't watched a lot of F1, check out Formula One Drive to Survive on Netflix. The latest season is absolutely insane.
Yeah.
I haven't even I'm probably maybe about halfway through, so it's going to be awesome to see what happens next. And I know they are going to Saudi Arabia next. So Levi, best comment yet. The wheel.
Yeah, that is pretty cool on the McLarens.
Yeah,
the Google Buffalo.
That is awesome. But it's going to be, it seems like the McLarens are struggling right now, obviously, and
it's only week one.
It's surprising. I will say this: it's surprising to see the Haas team up there, already. With all the drama that's happened with Nikita Mazepin and then Kevin Magnussen coming in last minute. So
but prior to that, Haas's team was gathering the funds and they were gathering stuff to collect. They were on a mission, and they are this year to become better.
Oh yeah,
don't forget the information right there, Brad, that they were not just popping up; they were getting stuff done.
Oh! Trust me, I know. And it was just with the whole Nikita Mazepin thing and his dad being, the major sponsor, Uralkali, them having to pull out, and that's like basically their income. A lot of their money.
Oh
is, and for that to happen, and people
it was a bold move.
Oh yeah, it was a bold move. And for that to happen, and people are like, oh, what's going to happen with the Haas team? With their money's gone. Then they show up, Bahrain, P5 and P11. Like, if that isn't a big middle finger to Nikita Mazepin, who was absolutely abysmal last year. If you watched Formula One Drive to Survive, the dude couldn't drive. He was in there because of the money.
Oh,
Let's be honest.
his dad was a moneymaker.
Oh yeah, let's be honest. He was in there because his dad had the money, and the kid had no, the kid had no right being in that seat. They needed a veteran.
Levi said it right. If you read his comment, getting rid of Nikita is probably the best thing they did. I mean, it sucks. Granted, that sucks, yeah, but it's the best thing they did.
Oh yeah, it's probably a lot of less stress on Gunther Steiner if you watch Brad and Cheech Drive to Survive. The dude's gonna have a heart attack if Nikita still stayed in that seat.
That's crazy to think about it, and then it's all form. It's racing season, back in form.
Yep.
It's crazy. Also, I mean, yeah, we talk about monster trucks and stuff like that, but it's crazy to think that last time this happened was in the 50s or 60s. It's crazy to think that Rick Hendrick has 3 drivers winning within 5 races.
Oh yeah.
The next gen cars. The Atlanta was crazy on Sunday. And it's just crazy. And also, like, off the top of it, one of the DSR car, not DSR, the Glennon Racing team, they lost their truck driver, which I saw the picture of it and gave me a huge reality check because I myself haul basically the same type of rigs as all these NASCAR guys and all these NHRA guys. And it comes to it where it's an everyday, it's a dangerous, just driving from one destination. Doesn't matter if it's 2 hours or 14 hours. They gave me a big reality check on, that hauling, that stuff and being, you have to be careful and stuff like that. And they gave me a huge reality check, but it was also cool that the guy won the race that Friday night.
Yeah. And I believe Taylor Gray, who has I believe his family was involved in NHRA for a long time. So the David Gilliland team, and, that's the same team that Haley Deegan's a part of. So that's awesome to see. And, I commend, what you guys do driving up and down the highways. Like my dad hauls equipment here in the oil fields here in Alberta. So, I respect everything what you guys do as truckers. You guys are the reason why certain event, shows happen, because you got to get the machines there. Right.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy about that.
And I just noticed Jeremy's comment here. Hendrick and Chevy going to the Le Mans 24-hour, which is cool.
Yeah. And also with that, Goodyear is part of the deal too. And NASCAR's on board too. So they have a lot of supporters going.
Yeah, that's cool to see. I know they've kind of done a little bit of stuff back in, like I believe it was the 60s or 70s, with the, I think David Pearson's car back in the day. But it's going to be cool to see what they can pull off and what drivers they will have for that. So it's going to be really cool to see. And you're right. You said earlier, racing season's upon us, man. Like Supercross is in full swing. You got NHRA, NASCAR. It's amazing to see. It's the good time of the year for us motorsports fans.
How about Jimmy Johnson getting P6 in IndyCar in Texas?
Yes, Jimmy Johnson finally, getting some steam in IndyCar. That's exciting to see. I know last year he struggled, learning the car. Because last year you had a lot of rookies in there. I had Jimmy Johnson, Romain Grosjean, who is now with, I believe, the Andretti team.
Speaking about Andretti news, did you hear about them getting the finalization and maybe getting an F1 car?
That'd be cool. That would be really cool to see. Michael Andretti did some stuff in Formula One, part of the McLaren team with Ayrton Senna back in the day. It's going to be interesting to see who they would have drive for that team. There's a lot of guys in IndyCar that I feel like, would be good in Formula One, like Pato O'Ward with McLaren, which I actually found out. So one of the owners for the McLaren Aero SP team in IndyCar grew up an hour and a half, or not an hour and a half, like maybe 40 minutes away from where I'm living now, which is really cool.
Chip Ganassi lives in Pittsburgh.
Oh, sweet. There's always, I remember watching a video about this secret tunnel that they have for like testing. So that's,
yeah. And he said they were supposed to, like you said, they were supposed to buy Sober, I guess their name is. But
yeah, the
someone on
Cyber team.
YouTube made an awesome point. I'm going to throw it out there about Andretti. And they said that, the perfect group that he picked all the manufacturers that Andretti could go after. He said the perfect group for them would be Dodge. And he made a very good standard point of how cool, how Dodge would, because Dodge is owned by Stellantis, which is a group that is owned by the Fiat company, and they have a huge percentage own of Ferrari. And they can take all this bit and cranny and put it into that package deal and create a F1 car for represent the whole United States.
Yeah.
And the guy made a decent point about it. I'll post it on Facebook when I share the link about it. But they said they made a good point, and I thought another good point was maybe Ford.
Ford has kind of done stuff in Formula One, if you think about it, when Ford owed Jaguar for that time period, because Jaguar did have, a car in Formula One for a couple of years. So it'd be good. I don't know. I watch a lot of like Formula One YouTubers. Tomo is one of them when I watch, and he's done a lot of stuff about that, like, what ifs. It's going to be interesting to see if Andretti does go and who they would choose to partner with them. Like Dodge would be cool to see. Ford, even Chevy, like either one of the three main manufacturers here in North America would be cool to see. That you never know.
Because all three of them really have a past history with the Le Mans, and they run some of the tracks that the F1 guys run. And the technology, Chevy has dominated the Le Mans series for God knows how long. Ford did it in the 60s. Freaking, I'll tell you what, also, I mean, the Dodge Viper dominated in the 2000s, and it's just like, my mom and dad, hey, Dad, this shirt should be on its way. And then, okay, Josh Yoho, it's not racing anymore unless it's lawnmower racing. End of story. Changed my mind. Man, I remember TNN Motor Madness.
Yes.
They had lawnmower racing and demo derby and swamp buggy racing and stuff like that. I'm in the lawnmower pulling, if that counts.
I still remember when I was recovering from getting my tonsils out when I was like 5 years old. I remember sitting in the hospital bed watching TNN Motor Madness, and it was Demolition Derby, and I was so stoked.
Yeah, that'd be crazy. Yeah. I mean, I need to bring a lawnmower to Winchester then. Nick Davis said they bring lawnmower racing there all the time. I need to do that then. Man, I'm missing out. I got my Iron Horse, and my pulling one is a Simplicity.
Okay, I'm gonna make a little bit of a discussion here. Okay, this is something that I've thought about for many years that I want to try to, if it ever happened, I think it'd be an awesome thing. So you know how NASCAR has their throwback race, right? NHRA needs to do a throwback race. I think it's time.
I agree. I think they also should go back to Bristol and do the heads-up racing between Funny Car and Top Fuel.
The Noble Showdown.
Yeah. Hey, matter of fact, Damien, can you get on? I'm going to send you a link. Get on. We'll talk about sand drag racing. Let's do that. We'll do all forms of motorsports. Yeah, you opened your card. Did you open all those cards? I'll send Damien an invite.
Yeah, I did.
And then if he wants to get in, he can get in. We can talk about sand drag racing.
I actually have one more pack I can open up here. Check this out.
Yeah, let's do it live. Hold on one second. I'm right now on another screen.
So,
how you spell that boy's name? Dame Devil Dowers. They found him. I'm sending you a link, Damien. It's if you want to cover your face up, you're more welcome to. If you want to show that Bigfoot hairy face, you're more welcome to.
So this man right here, everybody who knows drag racing should know Bernie Federley.
Yes.
What people don't know about him He is from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. And if I have a card here handy of this other gentleman, which I don't, Dale Armstrong, the man who tuned Kenny Bernstein to 300 miles an hour, is from Calgary. So two of the top tuners back in the 90s are from Alberta. I have one pack left.
Let's open it. Let's open it.
And these are from the 1991 set.
Oh, didn't you buy a 93 set too?
92, 93, 94.
You may have an addiction.
Yeah.
But it's a good one.
All right. So first card we get is the tuner for Austin Procker. Now let me turn off this light on the camera. The tuner for Austin Prock, Ron Tobler. Here,
those cards are shiny, man.
I know.
What happens if you Oh, there we go. That looks good right there.
Then next, a young Del Worsham.
Oh, look at that. Do they have the stats on the back of the cards?
Yes, they do. So certain cards, if they're the picture of the driver, it only tells you kind of about them. And if it's the picture of the car, like this one of Mark Oswald driving the In-N-Out flopper, it has his 1990 results.
Wait, is that In-N-Out Burger
sponsored
car? Nice.
Yep. We got pro stock driver Kenny Delco.
Nice.
Legend in the sport, man who passed away. They made a movie about him and Don Perdome. Tom the Mongoose McEwen. We got pro stock driver Larry Morgan.
Oh, nice.
Pro stock bike legend John Myers.
Ooh.
We also got the Professor Warren Johnson.
Man, when you're saying this, I feel like Steve Evans should be talking about this stuff.
I have a Steve Evans card somewhere. I can. Yeah, I seriously have a Steve Evans card.
Oh man, American Sports. It's crazy how long he's been running.
And the Glidden family.
Man, that's crazy.
Like it's so cool. Like I wish I knew about these sooner. You know, it's just cool because like they only made them for limited years, and it's all like different. One sec, I have some more over here. Aha, here we go. I got some more here. Let me put on my headphones again. Stupid headphones.
Josh Yoho mentioned about Pinewood Derby cars. I just opened up my own old box of old Hot Wheels, and there's about 2 Pinewood Derby cars. I thought that was pretty funny.
Actually, let me... Oh, camera. All right. So this man made everybody's life hell in 92.
Cruise Petragon?
The Cruiser.
The Cruiser. McDonald's.
Here, let me turn off my other light here. Maybe...
Was that the McDonald's funny car he was running?
Yes, it was. All right, that might be a little bit better. We have the man.
Austin Coyle.
Yep. These are from the 92 or 93 set. I forget exactly which ones. We have another WJ.
The Professor.
Yep. Let me find some good ones. So they would come like either the picture of the driver or you get a random one of a track.
Oh, Houston Raceway Park. They still race there today, don't they?
Yep. So this is the 93 cards here. Let me sort through and find some cool ones here, the ones I have handy. So yeah, here'd be another one. You get another Cruise Pedragon headshot. Look at that look at that greasy mustache.
Right. Right.
The style.
That space gap right there.
Let me see here. Oh, here's another guy that if you watch drag racing in the 90s, you'd recognize.
Bob Fry?
Yep, Bob Fry.
Fry, yeah.
One of my favorite cards, just because of how badass it looks.
The Coors Light?
Yep, Michael Brotherton driving for Darryl Gwynn. Let's see here. That's the only ones I have in front of me right now, but I have like a bajillion more.
Well, I'll give a shout out while Brad's going through your cards to Austin Tweedy. He was driving last weekend with Barely Tame, and that's pretty cool. Driving, doing his monster truck gig. I think it was his first time, and man, that's awesome. Congratulations on that.
Yes, that is awesome to see. You know, it's cool. You know, it's been interesting doing the podcasting stuff as long as we have. You know, and seeing shows come and go, and it's cool that we have variety in the podcast world, because that's what we need. You know, we need, it's cool because, it's almost like the wrestling podcast. You have ones that like to, stir the pot a little bit. Then you have ones that are kind of more neutral, like Swiss. But we all need that, and it's cool, and, I'll still say this to this day, this show, and I feel like other podcasts wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for Jeff Richards and Monster Truck Radio. If it wasn't for what he did back in the day, doing the call-in shows and all the stuff he did, we wouldn't be here doing this.
Yeah.
He was the originator of all this. I still remember calling into his show and talking to guys like Dan Runty and
Larry I won something Swin. From him.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I don't know where it is, but I had that the autographed Mud Life that Joey Sylvester was in.
Yeah, I got that too with the Dennis Anderson Chrome Illusion. Or was that the first magazine that Dennis Anderson had with the King Sling?
I believe so.
Deal.
So, huge shout out to Jeff Richards, Roller. Ken Vini. I have a Ken Vini card somewhere. I'll have to look through my collection. I'm still kind of sorting some of the cards. So I didn't get no autographs, but I'm hoping if I can get to an NHRA race, bringing my binder and getting some autographs done, because that'd be sick.
So I got some stuff that I brought in the box outside of Hot Wheels.
Oh,
I got some Monster Jam souvenir yearbooks.
What year is that from?
2008.
2008. Okay.
You got
Airman Dan.
All of them, and then.
Did I see the supposed driver of Doomsday there for a minute?
No. Let's see here. They're talking about the 30th anniversary of Monster Jam. There it is.
Lupe Souza.
Yeah, and then let's see here. Frank Warner bought a couple books. I need to get back with him because Steve is there. I got this one too.
The 2010.
I
think 2010 would have been the first Monster Jam show I went to ever in Edmonton.
Talking about, look at that. Shock Therapy, Mr. John Zimmer.
Yeah.
I'm covering up his face.
Jay Snyder there up in Screaming Demon.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's see if we got some Canadian guys here.
Because didn't 09, wasn't that the year that Chucky won freestyle in Monster Mutt?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it would have been that, because I saw him in Edmonton in February of 2010 then. And I think that was the first year that Becky McDonough was driving Dragon's Breath. Then Tony Farrell was driving Digger Legend, and I still remember how loud Digger 12 was. My God.
You know what I have to say? If you post a picture of Leo Donald with Kurt Kramer, they look exactly alike.
Oh my goodness, they do.
Look at that.
They're brothers from another mother.
Yeah, that's crazy. Let's see what else I got here. Ooh. Got a 2007 book.
07?
Yeah. You guys were wondering if you guys listened to watched the episode of Travis. That's his dad, Ray, in the wild hair. Extreme Attitude. That's pretty cool.
All right, well, I'll show this one off since I have found it. Mr. 300 miles an hour himself.
Kenny Bernstein. Do you know It's just crazy how I didn't know for the longest time Kenny also owned a NASCAR team.
Yeah, he owned a NASCAR team. Another driver back in the day. What's going on with my camera right now? There we go. Another driver back in the day, Raymond Beadle, the Blue Max team, owned, I believe, that team before Kenny, and Kenny bought it from him. And also, Kenny Bernstein owned an IndyCar team as well.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, here's another legendary name back in the sport. Fuzzy Carter, tuner of the Nuclear Banana.
Oh, Nuclear Banana.
Let's see here. Here's another name, Ed McCullough. When he was driving a dragster, he drove the McDonald's dragster before Corey McLenithan did, and I believe 94.
Wasn't he a crew chief too?
Yes, he was. For Ron Capps, I believe.
Speaking of this.
Oh, throwdown.
Yeah. Old throwdown. They had
Oh, and who was asking about Ken Veeney? Chris Kellebarger. Ken Veeney, right here.
There you go.
Yeah, back when he tuned for Michael Brotherton and the Darrell Gwynn team. Another iconic tuner, the General, Tim Richards. And like all the cards are different. When you get into the 94 set, it's made by a different company, and the cards are actually like embossed, and they had a special card in one of them, and it was kind of like it had 24 karat gold in the card, and I actually got one of those of Darrell Gwynn, which was really cool to get.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
There's another one. People.
Oh, Toughest Tour.
I got both volume 1 and 2.
One of my kind of bucket list things is to go to a Toughest show at some point. From just watching videos of it throughout the years on TMB and everything, the shows look absolutely ridiculously awesome.
Here's a four Monster Jam book.
I wonder, thinking about Canadian monster trucks, who would be the most iconic driver truck combo to come from Canada? Like, would you consider? Oh, there, yeah, Don Frankish. Don is a cool guy. If you guys have ever had a chance to meet Don Frankish, the dude is awesome to hang around with. I don't know how long ago it was. I made a post saying, one of these days, the dream is to drive a monster truck, and he posted, and I'll find the post. He said that I might be able to drive his ride truck, which would be stupid cool.
Oh, the
Jurassic Attack ride truck.
That'd be pretty cool.
Oh yeah. Hey, it'll have a check off the bucket list, right? So, that would be one of the coolest moments, I think, ever for me, at least.
So we got another one here. 05.
Oh wow. With the Thunder Nationals on there too.
Oh yeah.
That'd be real. I think that'd be cool to see Thunder Nationals, come back. And I just saw Jeremy thing with the Northern Nightmare. Would you consider that, because even though the truck is Canadian themed and had a Canadian driver, would you?
But it was never he never owned it.
No, so we're talking like Canadian owned teams and trucks.
Speaking of which, we got Damien on.
Oh, Mr. Bowers.
We'll bring him on. What's going on, Damien?
Not too much. Working on, sitting around doing nothing while I wait for garage space.
But yeah, we were talking about different forms of racing, and you brought up, and I think this would be a good time to talk about the sand drag side of everything like that. Sand drags is what a off branch of mud racing.
A bit,
And
yeah.
how about explain about it? What goes on in the sand drag world, and after that, maybe explain about the cars.
All depends where you go. Down in Texas, it's mostly still mud racing. You got anything from right now top alcohol dragster down to your sportsman racers and stock vehicles. We've got in our area, we've got maybe 2 or 3 top alcohol dragsters out of Michigan on any given occasion, and just we run generally 300-foot sand, dirt, pea gravels. Is gravel rama. That's the one a lot of the monster truck people are going to get, and we run throughout the summer mostly. And some of our guys go up and do. Last weekend they did a snow hill climb up in Wisconsin.
Now, with I'll bring this up, with the show Faster with Finnegan on Motor Trend and them doing, an episode with sand drag or mud drag racing this past season, do you think that is going to bring more people to the sport?
I would really hope so. They had actually contacted some of us. I work with a page called World Sand Drag News. We also have a website called worldsandragnews.com, and they contacted us looking for a driver to use. Joe Gorney is one of the local racers from my area. His crew chief and actually the guy who helped him build the car, and he runs the old Instant T car, is Tom Marsh of Intruder fame.
Okay. Oh, that's pretty cool. And now, like you said, there's different regions, I guess you would say, but outside of that, you have ran your explain to people about your car personally.
I run a little orange Jeep named Leftovers. It's just an old CJ5. It's real short wheelbase. Currently, we've got a 6-liter LS in it. And we're spraying nitrous through it, and it likes to carry the front end from time to time.
Now, one of the biggest events for sand drags, or what you guys do, is Gravelrama in Cleves, Ohio. Talk about, and people know that event because Bigfoot would go to it back in the day and do the Eliminator Hill. Talk about how important that event is to what you guys do.
It's still considered, even though it's not as big as it once was. Last year was the biggest it's been in a long time because last year was also the 50th anniversary. We had cars from all the way from Puerto Rico that were showing up. We had 7 or 8 cars from Puerto Rico. 2 of them on the weekend had accidents, and multiple of them even tried the hill drags and what we call the big Eliminator Hill climb, which that's the one you've seen Bigfoot always run. 70-degree incline, but unlike Bigfoot, who started back at the fence and got a big run at it, we have to stage on the side of the hill and take off from there. It's also such a big event for bragging rights because it doesn't actually pay back any money. It's all for a trophy.
So, would you say this is your guys' Indy or Daytona 500 type event?
For in this region, out to Pennsylvania and such, yes. We even used to have cars coming as far away from Mission Bay, British Columbia, that would come out for the entire summer and live with people out here on the East Coast and race.
Now, you mentioned that you have an LS in your truck. How popular is the LS motor in sand drags these days?
It's starting to catch on more and more. The LS combination is such a budget build for how much horsepower you can get out of a stock combination. You don't have to spend so much money on cylinder heads, on rods, on pistons to get to 1,000 horsepower. It's such a reliable combination too.
So what is the most common motor that you guys run? Is it the big block Chevy?
Right now it's still the old school small block Chevy, albeit not many people are running the old 23-degree stuff anymore. We've got some guys running as low as 11 degrees, 14, 18-degree head stuff. They're spraying as much as 1,200 horse of nitrous, or some people running pro chargers that are similar to what you'd see on a pro modified.
Now, nitrous obviously is a pretty good combination for what you guys do, but how many people are running blowers and or turbos, even pro chargers these days?
It's getting more and more common. Right now, there's a big class. It's very popular called Top Eliminator. In the sand, it's from coast to coast. There's cars running old NASCAR engines from Dodge with nitrous. We've got twin turbo LSs, screw blown small blocks coming out this year. Everything from 1,100-pound dragsters up to a few guys running 4x4 trucks and Aldards. And the class is limited by a 295 breakout. You can't go faster than 2.95 seconds in a 300-foot strip of dirt.
It's kind of crazy. I seen video. Who's the guy that brought a dragster to the track? Like, had the U.S. Army car, and then had paddle tires on the back of it, and
that was a guy from Michigan. His name was Scott Schyatt. He's
okay.
actually started a shop up in Michigan to help tune blower cars up there recently. His family, they had 3 or 4 screw-blown Hemi top alcohol dragsters. The U.S. Army car, from what I believe, used to be an old Tony Schumacher car, and they'd run they'd run the 300 foot in just a hair over 2.6 seconds. There's a few guys out in California running in the 240s.
Wow.
Now, one cool thing is all 3 of us go way back. Doing MTM2 and rigs or rods back in the day, and it's so cool to think where we've come from and what we're doing now. It just blows my mind.
Oh yeah, seeing Dan, he's one of the top crew guys in the industry from what it seems like as over the past few years. You guys working together, bringing this podcast, and there's so many other people that we played with over the years. You look at Mark Warner; he's announcing shows all over the East Coast throughout the spring and summer. You've got, like I said, this podcast. You've got Steve Pari, who's helping run promotions. You've got Alex Pecorelli, and so many others. Josh Rhodes, a tech official, just putting it all out there and living their dream, working in the industry they love.
And also, let's give a shout out outside the monster truck world too. Let's say another person, Burt Wojak, with the Beer Hero gang, and doing all the stuff locally around Pennsylvania with sprint car racing, modifieds, late models. I mean, he's representing the PA posse 100%. So shout out to him and what he has done too, because he gets me up to date on what's going on with the world of sprint car racing in general. But before we go off the tangent here, but I want to let people know also you're a champion yourself there, Damien. And for this coming year, are you going to still stick to the same class that you won your championship with, or are you going to be moving up?
Well, it's been a few years since I've actually won a points championship. The class I'd won the championship in, I won it 3 separate years. It was a class called Nickel Nightmare. It's a bracket racing class like you'd see at your normal local drag strip on any given Friday or Saturday night. Slower car gets a head start and has to get ran down by the faster car without beating your ET. I'm going to be trying to run that, but we've also upgraded. Like I said, we're running nitrous. There's a few other classes that the car will now make it into where we've upgraded the roll cage, a little more safety. We're going to put a different gear in it, put a new transmission case in it, an SFI rated case, because my foot more or less rests on the flywheel shield. So if anything happens.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like it'd be fun if anything happened. One cool thing I remember back in the day, Lucas Oil on the Edge would show top fuel sand drags, and that's just another level of insanity.
Yeah, unfortunately, currently there are no cars running top fuel in the sand anymore. A couple of years ago, a man by the name of Marcus Norris, I believe, I could be wrong on that name, it's been a couple of years, but he had his throttle hang going off the end of the track out in California. Now the shutdown out there is miles and miles, but he reached the end of it. Supposedly had a heart attack before the end of it, but when they found him, it wasn't a good sight. He had passed during the crash.
Oh no.
And at that point, Top Fuel kind of just dissipated. And right now, top alcohol is the fastest class, albeit those top fuel cars were running the same 300 foot in 2.2. A few cars had ran 2.1s, but never able to back up their records.
Yeah, that's crazy. And let people know also, what's the difference between your style car and those Formula One cars that you see in, I think, in Iceland and stuff like that? Those, your guys' vehicles are completely two different vehicles, correct?
Yes and no in a lot of ways. The Formula Off Road, they share the same tire we run. They run either the Sand Tire Unlimited multi paddles, or they run what's called a Scat Track, Bigger Digger, or Super Scooper usually. And those are the same basic tires. The Scat Track tires are old drag racing slicks that Scat Track takes. They shave all the surface off of them and vulcanize scoops to them. But in Iceland, those vehicles are built to handle abuse. They're built to go up a mountain, cartwheel down it, and still be with minor repairs ready to go to the next round. And they've also got almost as much steering angle as some Formula drift vehicles, which is absurd with being four-wheel drive with 36-inch bigger diggers on them.
That the Formula Off Road stuff is crazy. I know they've kind of expanded into the States and doing some events, and the Rock Bouncer guys like Tim Cameron and stuff do events with those guys. What's the next thing for you guys? Are you guys just going to keep running the same combination you guys are running, or are you guys wanting to eventually step away from the nitrous and go to the turbo route? Like what's the plans for leftovers in the next couple of years?
Right now, we're slowly just putting together a better bottom end. We're probably going to stick with the nitrous for now. We just simplicity and space in the vehicle. We ain't really got the space to put turbos currently and keep them from getting hit by dirt and crud at all times.
Man, that's pretty cool about what's going on. And what's your race schedule like? How many races do you guys have per year? And
Anywhere from, say, 15 to 20, depending on everything that goes on. I also, right now, I've currently only got one show that I do with Full Throttle this year, Full Throttle Monster Truck Tour, put on by J.R. Rouse. Good tour that runs throughout Indiana and Kentucky usually. Currently, that only show is in Richmond, Indiana on a Monday night in June. But we've ran there with them at Connorsville and up in Portland, Indiana, where Mosier Axles is from.
Yeah, I know you guys have done some stuff with those guys. And how's it, being able to kind of combine your two loves of, sand drags and also monster trucks?
It's an awesome thing. It's allowing me and it's allowing my friends more places to run, even if it's only a single lane for a couple of passes. It's getting us in front of a larger crowd. We don't usually get the size of crowds anymore like you'd see at the monster truck shows. We don't have the advertising. We're club ran sport in most areas, or just local tracks that can't really afford to pay radio advertising, newspaper advertising. They just get the word of mouth out through Facebook and the like. And it's awesome to see the crowd interest in vehicles like ours when we're carrying the front end 150, 200 feet, and the crowd erupts to that.
It's all crazy also to bring back kind of nostalgia feel of monster trucks, sand drag / mud racing, and that'd be pretty cool to have some tractor pulling, and have that type of feel, because nowadays it's just monster truck racing or mud racing / land drags are doing their own thing, and obviously tractor pulling are doing their own thing. It's like, whatever happened to the big three, you know what I mean? And it's pretty cool seeing that you guys are still in the mix with that.
Oh, definitely. I believe down in Texas, they actually did some super stock mud racing with Checkered Flag, No Limits tour down there. They had local Texas trucks running through a shallow mud pit in an arena show recently.
So, is there any, social media people can find you on if they want to know more about what you're doing with your racing?
They can follow me. They can add me on Facebook. They can follow me on Instagram. I'm Mini Mooch 256. They can follow World Sand Drag News Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. Go to our website, check it out. We also have a list of standing records that we recognize throughout the world. We have record holders in the UAE, Iceland, Puerto Rico, and here in the States. You can follow Leftovers Racing, like I said earlier, on Facebook. I may have forgotten that, but there, you can also follow Gravel Rama, Franklin County Four Wheelers, SoCal Sand Drags, There's Facebook groups, Dirt Drag Junkies, Sand Drag Central, where you can get schedules, races. There's so many across the nation and different types of mud and sand drags that you can check out.
Man, that's so cool. And thank you for being on this last second, but letting people know about the world of sand drags. A lot of people may not know it. Do you have the car? Can you show the car, or is it?
Currently, it's out in the trailer. I was trying to get out there before I got online, but for some reason, I can't get power out to it right now, and I don't feel like fighting with the generator to get it started up to turn the lights on in the trailer at the moment.
Yeah, it's not worth it. But man, thank you for being on and letting us know about the world of sand drag racing.
Thank you guys for having me. I've been hoping to get on here eventually, but this has never worked out.
Hey, you finally got a shot at doing it. Now you gotta be a guest on the Retro Monster Truck review.
Yeah, I did. It's been a while since I got to do that, but yeah.
Nice. All right, man. You take care.
You guys have a wonderful evening.
You too.
Man.
See ya.
Man, like I said, we go way back with that guy. Lots of fun memories doing MTM2 and kicking him out of TeamSpeak, I think, for a record 50 or 60 times.
Right. He's always like that. I had a question from Mike Hedman. He was asking, I got a private chat here. Oh, hi, Damien. About how the Monster Jam season's going right now with me and Hall Brothers. Going pretty good for, right now we're 7th and 8th and within the points, but we're within the top 8. We're holding our own, and it's been fun. Everyone's been pretty much together. We all joke around, making axles left and right, couple transmissions. This last weekend on Saturday night, we had to change a motor out on Kurt's truck. Rod kind of went whoosh. You can see the rod dangling from the block. And we just, we're just holding our own and enjoying racing all these guys from the Gardner, Zach, and John Zimmer Jr., which is right now Mr. Hotfoot, and he's tearing it up right now. Right now, 1 and 2 is Kristen and Tony Oaks, and they do their thing. We just gotta play the guy who throws the wrench out in the situation. So we're almost done. We got about 5 shows, I think, left. As in weekends, we got still a crap load of shows. We got a 5-show weekend at Grand Rapids this weekend. And then after that, we got Columbus, Cincinnati, Cincinnati. I said Cincinnati already. I think Lincoln, Nebraska, and Manchester, New Hampshire. So we got a lot of stuff going on. We also going to be doing the Enith, Oklahoma show here, April 9th. So that's going to be a good show. It's always a good show.
I like the social media you guys have been doing, like with you and Nuge, and the kind of stuff that has been like that drop it video that you guys did at in Chicago. That was cool to see. And even just there's that one, I think, video of somebody zooming in on Nuge. He just looks like he's just staring in the distance. Like, I just love stuff like that. It's so funny. Just contemplating his life after that show in Rosemont, just like, do I really want this?
Right. Yeah, Mike Jeremy's going to be at Corbin with Seth, one of our old crew guys. He's going to be there too. So, and Against the Grain's going to have some Crush This decals on the truck.
Yeah.
So
another truck that has the decals is American Scout. Got Crush This decals, and that truck should be out for BeamNG soon. So that truck is being added into BMG.
Chris, you ask if the Hall brothers build their own Hemis. We build the Hemis in-house. I mean, the parts we get from Brad Anderson, other people and stuff, but the motors themselves are built by Tim Hall with the assistance of me and Kurt Kramer. But mostly the engines that we have are built by Tim Hall. So and the chassis are built by Mark Hall. We have no other, there's only one truck out of the whole fleet that was built by someone else, and that was the ride truck. That truck was built by Mike Vaughters, because that truck, Nick Davis will attest to it, was the old Pure Energy truck, and he always wants to know when that truck's for sale, but I don't think it's gonna be for sale because it's very much the workhorse of what we do. I mean, I never seen people line up, out the yin yang just to ride in a monster truck. So, it's gonna be a hot ticket. Gonna be pretty soon in the future. There's gonna be a new driver behind the wheel of the ride truck. It's not gonna be me. So, we'll see who's gonna get that. I may drive it around once or twice, maybe a lot, but
got to keep them skills sharp there.
Yeah. But so we'll just keep it running. We're gonna be I think the first show for that one's gonna be in Colby, Wisconsin, the same weekend as New Hampshire. So yeah, Patrick gets his built by Sassy, but he has also bought some Brad Anderson stuff too. Yeah. So
hey, Brad Anderson stuff is top notch. Like Brad, like if you know NHRA, especially in the 90s, you know Brad Anderson and Randy Anderson and Shelly Anderson, the Andersons. So, if you can't run Keith Black stuff, Brad Anderson's probably the way to go.
Right. And Sassy's pretty good too. It's just there's so much there's a reason, everyone goes to the Hemis in drag racing.
Yep.
In the monster truck world, it's a also in dirt drags, there's a lot of Brad Anderson stuff too. I mean, but just the Hemis in general is insane. That you get so much power from that design. It's crazy to undertake. People talk about it's cheaper for Chevy motor. The first start, it is expensive, but outside of that, after you buy yourself a Hemi, it's cheaper to maintain it than it is with a Chevy, because Dan Patrick has motors that he still runs in the Samson truck. The block was built in 1984, and he's still running a Hemi of that block. And yeah, you can weld them. I know you're trying to jump in right now, Brad.
No. I'm just saying. Yep, I'm just agreeing.
Oh, okay. But like you said, NHRA drag racing uses the Hemis all the time. It's a staple. It's reliable. I mean, it's like Nick Davis says, you can weld on a Hemi. You can Brad Anderson, our Hemis are cast as billet aluminum. We throw a rod end in. I'll show you a picture of it. I'll take a picture tomorrow and put it on the Facebook. You can see a rod sticking out of the block. Well, we'll take it apart, send it to Brad Anderson, and they'll weld the block back, and we'll get it back and put parts in it and be on another truck. So it's pretty crazy. And beforehand, Mentz ran a Hemi.
Yep.
And it's just crazy.
One interesting, I just thought of this. It'd be cool to see, somebody in monster trucks. I know it'd be ridiculously expensive, but to run Alan Johnson stuff, I think that'd be so cool to see somebody running some Alan Johnson heads or something in a monster truck, just because of how
expensive.
That's why I said, it'd cost an arm and a leg, but look at that man's track record with horsepower. Look at what he did with Blaine, his brother, until he passed. Gary Selzy, Tony Schumacher, and all that, running his heads. Mm-hmm. So it'd be really cool to see somebody run some Alan Johnson stuff. But like we said, you got to sever your arm and leg just to get one head.
Sacrifice your first two kids.
Yeah.
I'll trade you my first two kids for Alan Johnson products. Deal. And then be on ESPN.
And then you got, Mike Vaughters still running Ford. You have him running Roush Yates stuff. You know, so it's cool to see variety. I've always had this weird thing in my head where, it'd be cool to see something different besides a V8. Like I know people have done diesels, but how badass would it be if somebody put a Toyota 2JZ in a monster truck? Just think about it. Like
right.
you can make ridiculous power running a stock block 2J, and just I know turbo lag, but how sick would it be to see a monster truck on two-step? Like, yes, please.
Yeah, but you also have to think about the safety aspect of it. You know, can it reach the horsepower that they need between? I mean, yeah, it'll reach about 800, 1,000 horsepower and stuff like that, and it'd be fundamental of what's going on right now. But you know, can you put that motor next to a two-speed power glide?
Oh yeah.
You know?
Yeah, people in drag racing, you know, a lot of the import drag racing, you know, are pushing stock 2Js. They can make well up to 1,600 horsepower with a power glide easily. You know, I just think, you know,
Is the motor big enough to fit in a chassis?
Oh yeah, you could fit the motor easily in a chassis. You know, you'd have to do some modification, but I just think something different. You know, even I know that, you know, it probably wouldn't work with turbo lag, but having a V8 twin turbo or running a Pro Charger, I just think something different would be kind of cool to see.
Be the bearer of bad news, Jeremy, but electric, if you get that down right, nothing will touch it.
Yeah.
Nothing will, if you get it down pat, you have 100% torque, 100% acceleration.
Oh yeah.
100% everything. I can see and with battery sponsorships, people are stepping up to do these unique projects. And you know,
look at Electric Foot.
Electric Foot. Not Odyssey. I'm gonna pronounce the company wrong. Ultima or whatever their name is. They're looking at people. You know, the interstate is looking for someone. It's just crazy how we're figuring out, you know, they're willing to donate, they're willing to put money to build a truck to do, you know, electric stuff. So
yeah, well, you have electric dragsters out there. You had Don Garlitz, who was, you know, Hemi till he would die, but he built an electric dragster. And you have another guy out there that built an electric dragster that just went 200. You know, even though like I love, you know, the sound of a monster truck and the smell and just there's something about it. It would actually be cool to see somebody do an electric monster truck that would be able to keep up. It'd be something different. And I think that always is welcomed in any kind of sport, you know, something different and something unique. Because that's what drives the sport. You know, right now with monster trucks, I feel like besides the competition, the innovation is, you can disagree with me, but I feel like it's at a standstill. We're at a standstill in the innovation of monster trucks.
You're right, and I agree with you about that. And the other thing I think that is bad about having an electric monster truck is people are used to hearing the noise, so that can tell you it's coming. If you ever stand or you ever heard Electric Foot, all you hear is pretty much the transfer case. Yeah. And people may not know that the transfer case is about the second loudest thing on a monster truck outside of the motor. But if you take the motor out of it and you listen to the transfer case, that all you hear is that transfer case clicking and clanging. But that's another thing that I think concerns if someone wants to do the electric world with monster trucks is the sound. You need the sound.
Yeah.
I really don't care about the smell. But the sound is what helps safety-wise know that the truck is moving, the truck's going, it gets out of people's way. Today's world, people don't pay attention around their surrounding areas. I mean, a person can leave a 9/16 wrench on the table that's right next to them, and then they turn around and the wrench is still there, and they just don't know where it's at. Like, you know, they just, you know, it's crazy how people are today that, you know, they're so oblivious about the scenario. And then you have a monster truck that doesn't make any noise. there could be some danger there. So,
Yeah.
maybe that's one step back on the technology of the truck, but with people like battery companies around the United States and world is willing to donate money to build these trucks just to do something, um, I could see it happening.
Well, one thing that, was really cool was seeing Gale Banks and the Banks people, working on an engine, like a diesel engine for a monster truck use. And I don't know if anything's, gone on with that ever since, I watched it last, but I just think there needs to be something new brought to the table in the industry. Like I said, and like we agreed, there's a stalemate in this sport, with the innovation. There has to be something to move it forward. Look at NASCAR and Formula One. They're with the next gen stuff. All the other motorsports are evolving, and we're kind of still in a way stuck in a certain spot.
But the problem is this: they had Formula One's been racing since what, the 1930s.
Yeah,
NASCAR has been going around since the 1950s. We started monster truck racing in 1987.
True.
We're still the fastest growing motorsport in the world. And the transition from 88 to 1991 was crazy.
Oh yeah.
So, that's the technology. Yeah, maybe there is a standstill, but maybe it's for the good right now.
Yeah, there is a valid point there. What do you think would be the next innovation to come within monster trucks? I personally would like to see different power adders come in. Not nitrous. Nitrous backfires. We don't need that. But maybe a pro charger setup or something different.
I don't think it's going to be I don't think additional motor supply like a supercharger or pro charger is the way to go. I think the future is modern day motors, not so the LS, the Gen 3 Hemis, the Coyote motor.
I'm surprised nobody's tried to do an LS yet.
Well, probably they have. We just don't know about it. That is, another thing that could be the future. Driver safety is always an innovation.
Yeah.
To go with that. The shocks. We're kind of in a position where we're going back in time instead of forward. So the trucks are about the same weight as they were back in 88. Heck, Kohler's is just as heavy as I think Samson won.
That's crazy.
I'm over exaggerating. I think Samson one's still heavier. I could be bullshitting also saying the future of monster trucks is bringing monster tanks back, but
I think everybody be happy about that.
There's all sorts of possibilities about the innovation of what you can see, and normally a lot of the people that see an innovation of the monster truck world, it's going to be a whole 90-degree shift. What did Nick say? Remember, the people who are making the biggest innovation usually don't tell you until they test it. Yeah, that's true. And that it's just and the funny thing is, it's sometimes the secrets are right in front of our face there, Nick. Other forms of motorsports be using the same exact stuff that we think would be good on monster trucks. We just use it on monster trucks. Obviously, look at off-road suspension. The Baja, the cantilever system was on the trophy truck, or somewhat of the idea of it, or it dropped out. Different innovations. Bob did. I think Bigfoot did help out with the innovation brought into Han's device in the monster truck world. Yep. There's a bunch of different stuff going on, and it's pretty cool to know about. What could be the future. Different chassis design. A lot of people talk about the X-Max truck out west. The independent suspension truck.
Yeah.
Maybe if someone can master that, it could be something different. So solid axle. There's all sorts of stuff.
I think you kind of hit it on the head with we're talking about the engines, a LS, a Gen 3 Hemi, a Coyote. I think, that would be a cost efficient way to go, because, you have to look, if you look at, the LS kind of market and what they're doing with that, you can make an easy 1,000 horsepower just even on a stock block with a couple turbos, even a blown aspect, and it'd be way cheaper than running what they're running now.
Heck, you can buy a Elephant and naturally aspirated 1,000 horsepower motor.
Oh yeah, it'd be 10 times cheaper than going to Richard Midget or going to another engine builder and getting a big block Chevy or whatever they're running these days. It'd be way cheaper, and you can go to an LS and you can go to a junkyard and find an LS cheap.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be down to see it. You create more variety. Even a Coyote motor, get it's going to be cool to see where the sport's going to go. And even we're talking about chassis designs. What if somebody brought out a front engine design, something new, something different? Look at what Bill Payne did with Rockstar, the current Rockstar. That was totally out of left field.
That truck's too good.
Yeah. Just imagine what somebody would come up with their head. Like I said, I'd love to see kind of like what they're doing now with like the Metal Shop or CRD or the Eddie Machka chassis, but a front engine version. That'd be cool to see.
Yeah, it's just, I think right now, for me personally, it's either going to be the motor situation or more safety. Safety for the drivers. I just think right now you can upgrade every single part of the monster truck, but you can't upgrade the human body.
No.
The only thing you can really do really good as a driver is to maintain your health, maintain your wellness, maintain your physical appearance, to handle some of the beatings, kind of like being a wrestler, if you think about it. Just keeping their body in check. I just feel like that too, is always going to be, the safety part is the what can be the next gen for the human being, because you only could do so much. I just think we're getting closer to the ceiling, but when me saying that, another roof will open up, and it's just going to be interesting. But I see that, to be honest with you, is the next series is driver safety and maybe modern motors.
With the driver safety, one thing that just came to mind would be almost kind of like something that goes beside their legs, so they're kind of more contained, so their legs aren't kind of as much freely to move around.
Right. Like, I'm agreeing with you, Brad. I agree with you.
Yeah.
If you ever watch an inside footage of how people's legs are like, Adam cut his calf muscle in half because he did a backflip and his legs slammed in the back of the chair. Ripped it half apart, his calf muscle. So, that's another thing, Brad. Good, you nailed that on the head about, ask Mikey, about your legs are dangling, and the safety of where your legs are going to be at is very important also.
And even a lot of drag racers have attachments on their gloves or like on their wrists to make sure their arms don't flail around and stuff. But I think having like a all-in-one seat that contains your legs as well would be a good idea. So what would happen to Adam wouldn't happen, so that's just, I think, would be a cool idea, almost like kind of what I've seen them before. But as long as exit is quick, which would be, you'd have to consider that too, right? Maybe you have it as where one side, the side you get in on the truck, that side you can flip up or flip up and latch it so it stays in place, right? So you can still get out and get in easily.
Yeah, then it becomes another issue. What happens if the latch, one get hit and the latch breaks? Or the latch bends and takes time, because sometimes even though you think you have a latch hookup, well, time when the truck's going up and down, landing, rolling over, landing, crashing, rolling over, landing, stuff like that. That bracket could be spreading out, and then you get one good hit. There goes the bracket. You know what I mean?
Something comes into mind in the drag racing world. There's a video of Tony Pedregon when he drove for John Force, and it was after a run, and he had the old camlock style, I believe, harness, the little latch or whatever. That's what he used to run. Well, there's a video online of a race in like 96 or 97, and you see like something happened, and that latch gets pulled up, and you see Tony smack the windshield in the funny car. So, that's when they eventually change it to the twist, or what's commonly used today. Mm-hmm. So you also have to put that into consideration. But I think, like we said, containing the legs would be a good aspect. And Jeremy, even better fire extinguisher, better fire suppression. So we don't see a lot of these blazes that we've had over the last couple of years with Devin Jones. I believe Mark had a blaze not too long ago.
Yeah, but that fire lasted in 2 seconds. The fire extinguishing system did its job.
True. I don't know, like, how, if you guys have a routing system in
we have a routing system. We have 3 nozzles, one going in the motor, transmission, and all he does is pulls it and goes out.
Okay, and I didn't know what you guys would run for a fire suppression system, so it was just the suggestion.
A really good
there.
one.
Okay, that's good then.
I mean, it's still basis MTRA rules. So if you follow Monster Jam or MTRA, you have to have a good fire expression system. That's the way it goes. You only could do so much. We follow the same rules as NHRA. So the monster trucks that run either Monster Jam or have MTRA, they're the same type of deal as John Force's car.
Okay.
So, kind of, it is what it is.
Yeah. But I think over the last, probably 20 years, the innovation has, especially with safety, with wheel tethers and a lot more, have gotten a lot better over the last 20 years, and it's cool. It's going to be exciting to see what happens in the next 20 years in the industry.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, Jeremy was talking about tethers on the legs and stuff like that. I remember Fred had a tether system that was hooked onto his shoulder harness. So when he was driving, you could see it. A good one was like 1990 Pontiac Silverdome. NBC did it. You could see him behind the wheel of his barefoot Leafer racer, and you could see like straps hanging from the truck to his shoulder, and that's like a tether type deal. So
yeah.
Nick said some of those big blazes were caused by older transmission setups. The blankets used to burn. Oh, yeah, that's true. Because it collects fluids and stuff like that.
It would soak into the fabric and such.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I just think it's exciting to be a fan right now, and what's going to happen, with the innovation, and we just got to wait and see. Who knows who's cooking up ideas behind the doors, and it's going to be exciting.
Mm-hmm. You just never know what's going to happen, and before you know, it's always going to switch around and stuff like that. Like the last the last version of right now monster trucks has been, how these nose wheelies and poppers and stuff like that came about to change trucks. It changed the transmission stuff. The transmission's not the same it was like 5 or 6 years ago.
No.
The transmission has different internals now that handle fluid sloshing and stuff like that. And then, the motor is once again changing the interior wise. So, it's always changing no matter what.
Yeah. And I will say this is with the nose wheelies, moonwalks, I love it and all, but there's nothing like a good sky wheelie and a good slab wheelie. I will say that I'm still a huge fan of the nice old Charlie Pawkins slap wheelie and a good old sky wheelie. There's nothing like it still.
It's monster trucks, and there's nothing wrong with any move,
No, I prefer, seeing a good old slap wheelie. I get excited on those.
Right on. Well, man, I said at the beginning of the show this is gonna be a short episode.
Well, we hour 34.
Right. But man, once again, if you want to follow me, follow Dan Cheech on Facebook, Dan Cheech on Instagram, and my RC page on Facebook and Instagram, Agosh RC Racing. Follow us on Crush This on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and
Spotify.
watch out for the hacker Bradshaw.
Oh gosh.
There's 2 different Bradshaws going on right now. So
yeah, so if you want to follow me, it's at the only Monster Truck Canucker. You report the Monster Truck Canucker, please. I've been trying to get my account back for like a month. Nothing's worked. Check me out on Facebook. Check out Bradshaw Designs. If you're going to the Buck Motorsports Park, you'll see some of my work kind of around there, doing some stuff for Zane still. And it's thank you guys for all the support over these last 7-8 years, I believe we've been doing this. So thank you guys for the support and what you guys do. Also check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, 5-star reviews, guys. That helps us out. And I believe our guest next week, who is it again?
Brie Marcourt.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah. And then Tyler Menninga is rescheduled for April 12th, I believe Dan said. So Tyler will be on. And guys, again, thank you. Thank you for hanging out with us tonight, even though it really wasn't.
Check up on people.
Yeah, check out, guys. Thank you, Dan. Guys, mental health is important, guys. You know that. I will always preach it until I die. Check up on your friends and family. You never know what somebody's going through. You never know what they're struggling with. Just check up on them, guys. Love on them. Make sure they're okay. And Dan can attest to this. When I'm not doing so good, I message Dan. And I chat with him for a bit and we talk. Don't be afraid to reach out to somebody if you need it. So I'm here for you. I know Dan would be there for you guys if you need to message him and have a chat with him. If you're not doing okay, just reach out to somebody. I don't care who it is. Reach out to anybody.
It's serious. If you want to talk, I'm more than welcome to talk. And I think it's bullcrap when people say or that don't answer back, or they say they're too busy, because if you're important, you're always going to be busy. You're always not going to be busy for someone. You will take that last second. You'll take that minute. You'll take that few minutes to text message and talk to people. And I definitely believe in that as bull crap. When someone says, man, you didn't get back to me. Oh man, yeah, I'm busy. Stuff like that. If you have that situation, be like, hey man, I'm busy right now. I'll get hold of you in a couple minutes. Talk about it. I don't know. That's society in general, I guess, but I'm not like that. And if anyone wants to talk to me, I'll take the time to do that. So that's all that matters to me.
And like when I was going through the worst of my depression and the time that I had in late 2020, early 2021, Dan was there. Like if I needed to chat with him, he was there for me. He would say, hey, I need a couple minutes. I'm currently busy, but I'll get back to you. And he did. So you're never alone. Just remind yourself of that. If you're, close to that breaking point, which I've been there multiple times, reach out. It'll help you. It'll help save your life. And we need you guys here on this earth. We don't need you going away. We've lost a lot of people in this world. Mike Thompson, he was battling with his own stuff, and we don't want that to happen to you guys. We want to keep you guys around. So, guys, make sure you, like I said, check up on your friends and family, because you never know what they're battling through.
Right. So, before we close this out, we're going to close this show out, but I got to show some ads. And then we're done. So Brad, go ahead and close on up, and then I'll just throw this in.
Alrighty, guys. So next week we have Brie Marcourt on, guys, and then the week after that, I believe it's Tyler Menninga on April 12th. And guys, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. And as we always say, since day number 1 on this podcast, keep the rubber side down and the shiny side up, everybody. Peace.